got to tell you something right now, guys. My allergies are on fire. I feel like I want to tear my face off because everything's itchy. My eyes are itchy. My nose is itchy. My face is, everything's itchy. My head is itchy. Ugh. And my hair is driving me crazy. I got to say, guys, my hair is just, I mean, I should be sectioned because my whole head of hair is just one giant flyaway. So I think I'm just going to wear it up forever or do that like Harold and Maude thing with the braids. Harold and Maude, one of my favorite movies. But I want to be like Maude, sassy, right? I know. Sassy is like my favorite word these days because I'm not brave enough to cut my hair. You know why I'm not brave enough to cut my hair? Because when I was 12 years old, I have a story for you if you want to hear it. If you don't want to hear it, you can fast forward, right? But I have a story, bad hair story for you. When I was 12 years old, I got a bob with bangs, with severe blunt bangs. And my sister called me Prince Valiant forever until that stupid bob grew out. So I was traumatized. And I will never, ever cut my hair that short again. Maybe I will. Maybe in my next video, you'll see me with short hair because I just got so frustrated. I am very self-amused. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Books Yada Yada. I'm Dina, and thank you so much for watching my channel. I don't know why I always say that so aggressively. I feel like John McLaughlin. Remember him? Remember the McLaughlin group on PBS years and years ago? There's a hilarious skit that Dana Carvey used to do. He impersonated him so well. But everything was, the end of every sentence that John McLaughlin in Dana Carvey's impersonation would end on this like very aggressive, nope, incorrect. What did you have for breakfast? Well, I had Cheerios. No, you had oatmeal and bananas. But anyway, you guys, so we're doing 3 reviews today, and we're going to be doing reviews of The Museum of Dr. Moses, and I'm not sure whether I'm just going to hold the book or I'm going to insert clips of the book. We'll see what kind of mood I'm in, because I'm not in a really good mood. I'm telling you right now, I just like these allergies are driving me crazy. Night Shift. Oh, God, I should take those Post-it notes out. Night Shift by Stephen King, and The Lottery and Other Stories by Shirley Jackson. So those are the books that we're going to be going over today. So these are like the old originals. This is super old. I mean, look at how yellow the pages are. Look at this fine print. Fine. What the hell? Yeah. Feeling sassy today. Feeling curmudgeon-y. And I'm full out curmudgeon-y New Englander because I've got my flannel on. It's cold. It's like 50 degrees here today. And I'm feeling it. I'm feeling that. Feeling like an old, crotchety, curmudgeon-y New Englander. And I am dressed for it. So here we go. Okay, so first book, The Museum of Dr. Moses by Joyce Carol Oates. Basically 2, groups of people. They either love her writing or they don't like her writing at all. I really like her writing, and I'm not going to go over every story in this book. I'm just going to go over my overall opinion of it and my favorite stories from the book. But some of the things I'm going to say about Joyce Carol Oates and her writing style is she's just such a non-classifiable writer because she writes across so many different spectrums and genres in writing. This woman is amazing. Now, she's in her 80s, Joyce Carol Oates, and I'm going to insert a picture of her here somewhere. I just love her because she's still a prolific writer. She's still writing in her 80s, and she still has that sharp wit and writing style that she's known for, which is a very elegant, rhythmic, some people say it's a little stream of consciousness writing. I don't find that to be completely the case. Maybe slightly stream of consciousness writing, but I would definitely put it more in the just very classy, rhythmic writing. Okay, if that makes any sense to you at all. And this is Joyce Carol Oates. She is, I mean, look at her. Doesn't she look like your sweet Aunt Sally? Or the, I'm going to put this down for a second, that little librarian, you know, you're from your local library. She doesn't look like a woman who would write about serial killers graphically, like graphic, disturbing, dark, twisted tales. And she doesn't look like a woman who would write about pugilism, boxing, right? I mean, but she's fascinated by it apparently, and she's wrote multiple stories and books about boxing. And one of the stories actually in this book is about boxing, and you know, that particular one I couldn't really get into, so I'm just going to knock that one out right off the bat. Anyway, so you know, she just doesn't. You can't judge a book by its cover, people. You know, so again, Sweet Aunt Sally could have bodies under her floorboards. My favorite stories in this book were Feral. Feral was about a young boy who has something extremely traumatic happen to him. And when he comes out of this trauma, he never really does. And his parents are extremely worried, and they don't know what's happening to him. But if the name of the story gives you any indication, he's turning into something else. So I'm not going to give too much away about that one, but it is the way it sounds. And it was creepy, and it was very disturbing and super weird, and I loved it. My next favorite story in this collection was called Bad Habits. Now, this one was very interesting to me. This one was about a family of a serial killer post him being caught and going to prison, okay? And this one was very, very, very haunting because you're going through these different emotions with this family, with the mother, with the children, especially the children, and they are dealing with this aftermath of being, you know, or the repercussions, I should say, of having a father for a serial killer, and what happens to them externally, right? So like other people kind of, you know, judging them, and what happens to them internally. And I'm talking literally. Things are happening to them internally, right? So that one kept me on the edge of my seat. It was very dark, very disturbing, and it was very sad, I will say. And the end, it's not really like a twist, but it is sort of a twist, just very, very disturbing. Bad Habits was definitely one of my favorite stories from this collection for sure. And the last one was the title of the book, The Museum of Dr. Moses. That one by far was my favorite out of all the stories. Incredible. It has such a eerie, atmospheric, Poe-esque feel to it. You have a woman who is returning to her hometown after, I think, 15 years or so, and she's visiting her mother, who has married Dr. Moses, okay? And Dr. Moses is a much, much older man. Dr. Moses was this young woman's, who's about 30 now, young woman's teacher in high school. And so she's trying to figure out why her mother married Dr. Moses in the first place, and is now living in the museum, which is also their home, with Dr. Moses. And she's trying to find out answers. She's trying to go into it with the best of intentions and just, you know, be happy for her mom at first and kind of like, you know, be supportive. But she's just finding that, you know, Dr. Moses is this creepy, creepy man, and he was back when she had him for a teacher, and he continues to be creepy, and her mother is acting very strangely. There's a lot of physical things going on with the mother, appearance-wise, that she's trying to figure out. So the whole museum, and there's a red room in the museum that I'm not going to get into because I don't want to spoil it, but whew, that was a great story, and it does end. I will share this on a really high, empowering, female empowering note, which I love. So there's definitely a feminist slant to it. Okay, so those are my favorite stories from the Museum of Dr. Moses by Joyce Carol Oates. I would highly suggest this book, just for its creep factor, and for also if you haven't read anything by her, and you want to, this is a good place to start. Okay, because that kind of gets you familiar with her writing. And like I said, there was a story in there about a boxer. It wasn't creepy, and I'm not sure why they put it in the book. I didn't find it to be creepy or very horrific in any way. It was more mysterious than anything else. But if you're interested in that sort of thing, in pugilism and boxing, then that might be the one for you, right? And again, that's why Joyce Carol Oates to me is just such an interesting author, because she's just not easily accessible. You know, like I said before, you can't really put her into any category. And I think that she has a broad legion of fans, and it's just as equal to a broad legion of not fans. So I'll put it that way. But it was good. So moving on to our next book, Night Shift. Now, this is my copy from when I was 16, and I think I stole it from school. I think I was supposed to put it back. I didn't get it from the library. I got it from I think it was one of my creative writing teachers had it, you know, like a bookshelf, and he would let us just borrow books and stuff. And I think I grabbed this one, and the end of the school year came, and I forgot all about it, but he won't miss it. So, you know, it's been like well over 30 years, right? Well over 30 years. So, and you know what's funny is I just recently realized that on the back of this book, there's a big sticker that says save. No, show your heart day, which is kind of funny to me on the back. I don't know, it was a Stephen King book. I don't know. Anyway, so a lot of you have probably read this book, right? So what part of this video is me revisiting books that I read when I was younger and have not returned to, like I said, well over 30 years. So Night Shift and The Lottery, which I'm going to get to next, are two of those books. And I just I'm almost doing an experiment because I wanted to see if they affected me the same way they did when I was 16, or because I'm a more seasoned person now, as I like to put it, if they didn't, or if I just have a completely different opinion because I'm more mature. Because I'm not very mature, as you have noticed. But again, just giving a different perspective because of the fact that it's been such a long time since I've read these books and dipped into them. And I've read a lot of Stephen King since I read Night Shift, but I just wanted to go back to the very first Stephen King collection that I've read. So this is a short story collection. And I'm going to go over my favorites, right? And I've post-it noted them. So I'm just going to kind of list off some of the really famous stories that are in here that were either made into movies or were expounded upon in other books by him. So we have Jerusalem's Lot, right? Jerusalem's Lot. So you can figure out what book was sort of, based loosely around this short story. Lawnmower Man, okay, that was made into a movie, I think in the 80s, late 80s, 90s. Correct me if I'm wrong, somewhere around there. It was Jeff Fahey in it, and it was just not a good movie at all. It was terrible. Children of the Corn, of course, classic, right? Trucks. Trucks was Maximum Overdrive, and I believe that Stephen King actually directed, I think that's the only film that he's directed, but he did direct Maximum Overdrive. I'm pretty sure. If you're a Stephen King fan and I've got that wrong, let me know. But that movie was really crazy, and the story was really crazy. So I'm just going to go over my favorites and let you know my overall opinion again. And how this varied from when I was 16 and now being at the age I am now, close to 50, how I felt about them. So my favorites were the Mangler. Okay. Now I believe that there was a movie in the 80s called Cat's Eye, which was based on some of these short stories, and the Mangler, I'm pretty sure, was part of them. I have not seen that since it came out in the 80s, so again, correct me if I'm wrong there. But the Mangler, I loved. I loved it when I was 16, and I loved it again. It spooked me out. It was just one of those stories that I think stuck with me when I was 16 years old, and it had the same effect on me this time around. So definitely a good one. I'm not going to get into it too much. All I'm going to say is never think, as we all know with Stephen King stories, that not just humans can be possessed, right? That machinery can be possessed as well, the Mangler. And the boogeyman is basically just about this awful guy, this terrible human being that is not the boogeyman, but you're just really satisfied to what happens to this terrible guy. That's all I'm going to say. Then you've got, Children of the Corn, of course, classic. I mean, I don't really need to say much about that one. Oh, Gray Matter. Gray Matter was one that, again, I didn't really remember, but reading it again, all I'm going to say is that now that we live in this day and age of, wearing masks all the time and washing your hands all the time, which you really should be doing anyway, right? And various things, viruses, bacteria, E. coli, things of that nature. With gray matter, it's a good lesson. Just wash your hands. Wash your hands, disinfect. If anything bites you, take care of it. Strawberry Spring. So this one, wow, I really loved this. And I didn't remember reading this one at all, which is so funny because it ended up being my favorite story out of the whole collection. This story was about, kind of an unreliable narrator again. It just had such a great feel to it. It was serial killer, creepy. You don't know where he's going exactly when he's narrating this. It's the way it's written is so atmospheric, and again, you guys know I love New England, except for the allergy issue. Ugh. I do appreciate the beauty of New England and the change in the seasons, and he captures this very well. And I think that's probably a part of why Stephen King likes to write about Maine so much, is because New England is a very haunted place, and so there is a lot of there's a lot atmospherically to infuse into your writing when you are using New England as a setting. And he does this masterfully in Strawberry Spring. So I know I'm rambling on about this, but just, if you read any of the book or any of the stories in this book, definitely read this one. Give this one a try. My dog, Jeff, is laying over there. He's just looking at me like, you are such a moron. And you know what? I agree with him. I'm not going to touch on Jerusalem's Lot or One for the Road too much because if anybody is familiar with Salem's Lot, then this is going to have, you're probably familiar with these two short stories. And Jerusalem's Lot takes place in the 1800s, so it kind of gives you almost like a precursor to Salem's Lot a little bit. And then One for the Road takes place in the 70s, early 70s, when these short stories were written. So remember, this was published in 1978, and Stephen King wrote these short stories in the very his early career, or the very beginning of his career. And it's funny to me because a lot of them were published in, men's magazines. When you when you read the back, like Penthouse and Cavalier, so I guess, I don't know, something about horror and porn go together. I don't know. That's conjecture. Anyway, The Lottery and Other Stories by Miss Shirley Jackson. Wow. You know, what an amazing writer. The thing I love about her is that she wrote these stories in like what, the late 40s, 50s. They are still so relevant right up into this very minute that I'm talking in. She touches on racism. She touches on so many different things that have happened and happen in humanity, and I just adore her writing so much. And I did when I was 16. I loved in this book when rereading it. A story. It was actually the first story in the book. It's called My Demon Lover, or the Demon Lover. And this book is great because it just leaves you wondering, like, what the hell is wrong with the narrator? Like, is she crazy, or is she just like, what is she just some kind of dingbat? Who knows? What is her deal? You know. Um, but Shirley Jackson just kind of keeps you on the edge, and you're like, going on? What's going to happen? Right up into the end. And she's another one where she kind of leaves things open ended, like Joyce Carol Oates. Same thing, where you're like, huh? And then, you're left to kind of maybe surmise your own opinion of what happens. And I appreciate that about her writing. And I think she kind of does the same thing in the lottery. I mean, we do know that what happens in the lottery, right? But you're left with that, like, wow. There's a great quote on here by Donna Tartt, who wrote The Secret History and what's the Goldfinch, right? And she said, Shirley Jackson's stories are among the most terrifying ever written. Now, what I think Donna Tartt means by this, and I'm just speculating here, is Shirley Jackson's stories aren't really horror stories. So they're not graphic, they're not gory, but she's able to tap into humans and their true nature. And that is what makes it, as Donna Tartt says, so terrifying, because you're left with these questions, and you're left with this imprint on your mind after you read her stories of, well, I kind of could see that happening. So that's what's terrifying about her work. Definitely read The Lottery. Definitely read The Demon Lover. The Witch was very good, and it's not really what you think, but again, tapping into human psyche and how perverse and bizarre people can be. Read this book if you ever are in the mood for some very, very disturbing, very terrifying tales of human nature. I think is the best way to describe Shirley Jackson's writing. So yeah, so that's it for today, you guys. I mean, I thank you for putting up with me. I know I'm like, again, I'm like so cranky, but I just really quick, I wanted to say something to one of my booktube buddies out there, Lady Jane Books. I tagged her in a DNF the DNF tag, and she did it. So I'm going to link her channel below. And she said the nicest things about me. Oh my God. I mean, what a sweetheart. Because you really made my day when you said those things, and I appreciate that a great deal. Um, but she really is funny. She has a great channel, and I'm going to link her channel down below. So definitely go visit her and check out her videos, because she's just, like I said, awesome. So you guys have a great day. I don't know what I'm doing next. So guys, so sometimes things have a funny way of working out. Apparently at the very last minute of this video, my mic decided to die on me, and oh my goodness, I missed a button there. So if you hear any background noise right now, I apologize, but I missed a button where my mic was clipped on. So not only am I a sassy older lady, I am a saucy older lady as well. Jeez Louise. Hello, Jeffrey. This is Jeffrey, you guys. Oops. Oh no. Yep. There's my big old umbrella light. Where is he? Jeffrey, say hello. Say hello to the camera. No, see? He's very introverted, like myself. He's almost 10, and he's definitely picked up my traits. I love him to death. He's a big lug. But he is sassy. Yeah, you know you are. I love you too. Mwah. Anyway, so I'm gonna help you try to figure out whether, I know you gotta go outside, figure out whether or not you wanna go with BritBox or Acorn or neither or whatever. So that'll be upcoming. And I am going to leave you alone because I know I'm a pain in the butt. And thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to me. Thank you for dealing with all of my issues. My allergies and my this and my that and my cranky, crotchety, curmudgeony self. All right, you guys have a great day, and I will see you the next time.